think if I fell off a cruise ship, I might just lose the will to live and I might just go underwater and take a deep breath.
I was going to say I would probably do the same.
I think it's shocking how many accounts there are of cruise ships finding random people floating in the middle of the ocean. What's that in the water? And it's a person floating there.
I watch too many like thriller horror movies too to also like ever be on a cruise ship and want to pick someone else up off the water.
Well, they probably take them into the jail at first. Like they definitely don't just like pull them onto the Lido deck and get them a drink. They definitely
don't just like put them in the Congo line and them under the limbo bar.
They put a captain's hat on them and they say, "Who's driving the boat?"
Welcome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. It's called Stop the Internet Podcast. My name is Kelee.
My name is Erin.
It's been 75 years. That's how I started the last episode with Rebecca.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm back.
Welcome. Yay. Welcome back to the couch.
Yay!
It's been so long. We have so much to catch up on.
We do. It has been a long time. I've had to take a step back, but I'm so excited to be back.
I'm excited for this episode. Today we're talking about travel stories, and it's going to start with some personal stories because in June, Erin and I and Rebecca and our other friend Kelee went to France, and so much happened. And then
Really?
I feel like so much happened to me.
I feel like nothing happened. I guess to you a lot kind of happened, but
there was just so many like little things that were partially my fault, but it was just so annoying. I like wrote down a bunch of notes from the trip that I wanted to run through.
Okay.
Should we just start? Should we just get into it?
Let's do it.
Well, the first thing that was annoying was on the way there, my luggage lock didn't work. I had this luggage lock for years and it had a little code, 3 digits, and I thought I was certain of what the code was. We're leaving the house to go to the airport. I was like, I know that's the code. I don't know why it's not working. I'll just put it on and figure it out later. I should have played with it in the car on the way to the airport to figure out this code, but I didn't. And I was like, whatever, I'll just figure it out when we get to the hotel in France. So we get to the hotel in France and it was not working. So that was the first annoying thing. And basically I had to cut the zipper off of the suitcase.
I stabbed myself with a knife.
Yes, in order to open it.
Your parents will tell you not to play with knives or not to don't try to do that with a knife. Seriously, don't try to do it with a knife. It's not worth it.
What kind of knife was it?
It was like a big butcher type knife because I think I was like, oh, if it breaks, it breaks. It didn't break.
Yeah, that lock was solid.
Nor did the lock, yeah.
That lock was solid. So that was annoying. And then the other thing that was annoying when I did finally get the bag open is I had packed all of my clothes in packing cubes, compression packing cubes. And the first city, we were only going to be there for 2 nights. So I was only going to take out a couple clothing items and keep everything else in the packing cubes for the remainder of the trip. Somehow, everything in my suitcase got soaking wet. So I had to take out every item of clothing that I had in my suitcase and hang it up all over the room. There was a washer dryer, but it was one of those 2-in-1s and you couldn't just run the dryer and it didn't even work anyway because we did try to do laundry the next night and it ended up not even drying the clothes after it washed them. So that was the first night. And the same thing happened to Kelee. So Kelee and I, the first night, took all of our clothes out of the suitcases and hung them everywhere in this. It was like an apartment style hotel room kind of thing. So that was the first night.
Wait, I have something horrible that happened to me the first night.
Oh, yeah.
This was actually way worse. We went to get gelato and we walked out of the shop and walked past literally one building and we were on the corner waiting to cross the street and my entire scoop just fell off my cone.
Yeah, that was
and just
very
plopped
sad.
Onto the ground.
That was very sad.
And everyone just looked at me.
It's one of those moments where nobody knows how to react,
No one knew how to react. I didn't know how to react. I was really upset. I didn't want to go back and get another one and just like face the people in there.
Maybe they would have given you one. Probably not.
This dumb American dropped her gelato on the ground. It wasn't a good night.
It was, that was sad to see. It really was. So that was the first night. Then we're traveling to the new town. We took the train there. On the way, we were almost the victim of a robbery. Woohoo!
It was the epitome of like, watch out for shady people on European trains.
Yes.
Like, had we not literally been on our game of like watching for people on the train in Europe, it would have happened.
Yeah.
So this guy, he was like, it was out of a movie. Like, you couldn't have been more put the suspect in his place if you tried.
Yeah, it was like, describe a stereotypical train robber on a European train. That's what the situation was.
This like teenage guy in...
He's probably older than that.
You think? Maybe in his 20s.
I
Maybe
would
in
say
his
late 20s.
Buzz cut hair under a hoodie.
Yeah.
Baggy sweatpants with like his hands in his pockets.
All black clothing.
Like all black, head to toe, like sneakers, everything. Hood, looking down, like kind of like shoulders slumped. And he walked past us so many times to kind of scope us out. Did he think we were stupid? I don't, like, did he think we weren't going to notice him walking by very slowly, staring at us every time? I finally said something. So we were sitting in two areas. Rebecca and I were on one side, Kelee and Kelee were on the other. I couldn't stop watching him walk by. I finally said something to Rebecca and I just kind of like looked up and she texted me. She was sitting directly across from me and she was like, I saw what you've been seeing and just so you know, he's sitting directly behind you and has been watching us the whole time too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, here we go.
And to set the scene, we were sitting in rows with tables. So I was on my laptop on a table.
So was I.
Was across from me. And then Erin was on her laptop on a table. Rebecca was across from her.
And because we were in these areas with tables and there was more space, we all had like our bags on seats. And Rebecca had her bag on the seat on the aisle. And it was like kind of open. It wasn't like she wasn't, dumb. Like she didn't have anything valuable just like sitting out. But she, I think, had just pulled out like a book or something. So her one bag was open. She said that after like the second or third time he walked by, she like kind of just closed her bag and slid it down off the side a little bit, but we were all kind of on the same page. And then at one point he walked to the very end of the train. We were like not too far from the end of the car. He turned around and was just staring at us.
Well, so this was after, like when he sat down in the seat behind you, that was when we were all on the same page. And I moved my laptop in and I turned around and just looked at him. And then we all moved our bags. There was nothing that was like easily snatchable.
Right.
And I had my hands, like both of my arms around my laptop holding it because he's doing that sneaky thing where as you're getting closer to a stop, he's getting ready to like make his moves that he can run off when the door opens. And we were all just like staring at him. And I think then he caught on that nothing is now easily grabbable. So he walked to the door and was just literally staring us down, looking at the door for it to open. And then just got off and we're like, cool.
He and I did not break eye contact for the last like full 4 minutes that he was on the train. And for all I know, he got off and got back on another car at that stop and he just was like trying to make it look like he got off the train. I don't know. But he and I did not break eye contact. And I was like, bye, buddy. We see you. We know.
Yeah, we're not stupid.
We're not stupid Americans on the European train.
Radio. Yeah. So we survived, which was great.
We did survive. Although I did get a little bit nervy and I did put my laptop away. You didn't put yours away when we first noticed him, but I was like, I'm just gonna, I got school. I can't lose my laptop on this trip.
Maybe I should have. I don't know. I feel like I was just ready to hold it if he was gonna like grab it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we beat the system. We beat him.
We did beat him. Better luck next time,
and then
buddy.
We physically beat him up after we followed him off the train.
Yeah, and then we tripped him and we all went in.
So then when we got to Nice, which is in the south of France, I was like, why is my suitcase not rolling? Like, I can't push it. Then I realized that my suitcase was actually broken and one of the wheels on the bottom was fully cracked around it. So it was not working. So that was very annoying. I decided to buy a new suitcase. The one night that we're in Nice, I'm like, all right, there's 2 stores in Nice. Erin was helping me look them up and we like booked it to this one that was closing at 7. And then we got there. It looked like this store hadn't been open in like years. It was like shut down. Really?
I don't think it looks like that.
Really? I thought it was like all the lights were off and there was no way it was even open that day is what I'm...
No, I think she was closing down for the night. We got there literally 5 minutes
there was
before
like
it closed.
Stuff all over the door. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. It wasn't open. And then we went to another one that...
Wait, side note, while we were there getting your suitcase, 2 2 other girls.
Wait, I'm talking about the other one, the one that was closed. Then we went,
Oh.
No, then we went to a second one that was open. And yes, that woman was just like about to close down her store. No, of course, that one I didn't think hadn't been open for years. It was a very popular store in the old town. But no, yeah, then 2 girls were also sprinting there to get bags.
They sprinted. They were out of breath. They ran in and we were like... Same girls.
Yeah, we just did that.
They bought their suitcase and left. So good for them.
I was deciding between 2 suitcases, and then I didn't want to ruin it on the cobblestone pathways through Nice. So I just decided to hold it and carry it back to our hotel. Then we go home. This was our last night in Nice. I'm packing up all my stuff. The next morning, we start to leave for the airport. And as I'm like pulling the bag from the hotel room, I'm like, wait, it's like not working. It's not rolling. We get on the elevator. I get onto the lobby. This bag does not roll. The wheels are broken. And it would not roll. So basically I had to drag the suitcase from the lobby to the car and then from the car to the airport, all through the airport. Thankfully I checked the bag, but then had to drag it from that airport to the next hotel. It was a mess. It was truly a mess. So I did dispute that on my credit card because I was like, you literally after emailing the store 3 times asking, what can I do? How can I make this right? I'll send you back the bag if you need proof. I'll send it over if you just pay for the shipping. Because it has to go over international waters. But I hope that they give me a refund for that because I was so mad.
That was crazy.
Yes, I was so annoyed. And the woman was so nice. Like, I genuinely think it was probably just a defective
And
product.
she didn't know.
Yeah, like she probably just didn't even know. Ugh, so annoying.
Anyway.
Okay, so then we got to Paris and scam time. No, we didn't get scammed, thankfully, because of TikTok. I had been watching TikTok. Yeah, about Paris scams for months before this trip. I always think like worst case scenario when I'm traveling, especially out of the country. So I am like, Paris is dangerous. Taken. Don't trust anyone. Like, don't be nice to anyone. And I'm watching all these TikToks about all the different scams. And one of the most famous scams in Paris is the clear cup scam. Basically, someone will get a clear plastic cup and it is so clear you can't see it. Like, it's actually shocking.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. I was like, how did it? Like, if you just buy a plastic cup from Party City, like, they're not this clear. Yeah. Like, it was so shocking how clear the cup was.
Yeah.
And they put a little bit of change in it at the bottom and they sit on a busy sidewalk and push the cup like really far out into the middle of the sidewalk in hopes that a pedestrian walking by.
If you don't know what we're talking about, they look like they're a homeless person asking for money. They put the cup out, quote, asking for money.
Right.
But they
pretending to be
set
homeless.
it out very far in the middle of the sidewalk.
Yeah. So they hope that a pedestrian walks by, kicks it over and spills all their money. So then this homeless person can be like, you just kicked over my cup. That's all I have. You know, like guilt trip them into giving them more money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I saw this on TikTok. We didn't see it in real life, but apparently they get children to do it, which is so sad. Like they just force their like 7-year-old child to sit on the street and pretend to be homeless with a cup. But anyway, we were walking down the street and we saw the cup and there was a woman in front of us who was like a little bit older than us and she kicked over the cup. She was French, actually. I guess she maybe just wasn't Parisian.
I don't know if she was French or if she just spoke French.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But she was fluent in French because she stopped to speak to him. But she didn't necessarily she almost looked Italian. She
might have been Italian.
Very Italian, but she definitely was fluent in French.
Yeah, she then said something to him in French. He didn't really have much of a reaction. And we were thinking maybe that's because he's trying to target tourists that don't speak French that would get scared in that situation. So she said something to him. He said something very calmly back and she just kept walking. And then she was kind of like turning around and like looked really nervous. And she was like wasn't there someone next to her?
I think she
said something to them.
Yeah, she had like someone younger with her. I feel like it almost could have been like a grandmom and a mom type of thing. I don't remember.
Yeah. And then she turned around and said something to us in French. And I didn't understand her, but she looked like concerned and worried.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, it's a scam. It's a scam. And then she was like, scam, right? That's a scam.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, don't worry about it.
And she was like holding holding her chest. She's
Yeah,
like,
she was,
okay.
so concerned, which was I'm glad they didn't get her.
I know. She was really concerned too. But yeah, it was definitely because she spoke French that the person was just like rolled their eyes and was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But you had seen it, not the like kicking over the cup, but you saw the person with the clear cup before that. And you guys were like, oh, there it is, the clear cup. And I'm like, oh my God, I literally didn't even see the clear cup.
Saw it too.
I did not see it. I was like, oh, I just saw the person sitting there. I did not see the cup.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank God I didn't kick it.
I know. It's actually shocking how clear it is. They really know what they're doing over there.
They know how to get their cups clear, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then the other scam that I saw on TikTok. Also, wait, just to clarify, on TikTok, these videos that I was watching, they made it seem like this clear cup scam was like everywhere in Paris. Like no matter where you go, every corner there's a clear cup. We only saw it once, and I was in Paris for almost a week.
Yeah.
And I only saw it one time.
And well, we actually saw it, I think, twice, but it was in a shopping district.
Well, it was the same guy, I think. We walked by him, we saw it, and then we walked by again. Same guy. Okay. And it was when the woman kicked it over.
And to be fair, it was in a shopping district.
Yeah.
So it's like, people are there spending money, Yeah.
The other scam that I saw popular on TikTok was people walk around, young like women typically walk around near the Eiffel Tower, and they have clipboards, and they walk up to tourists or people that look like tourists, and they say, do you want to help deaf children? Or do you want to help like some sort of disabled children or something children? And in theory, you say yes. And they say, all you have to do is sign your name on this petition to help deaf children. Like, I don't know why they picked deaf children too, as if like.
But that's what it was.
Yeah, that's such an like it's such a niche.
The deaf really need your help.
You don't. Yeah, like I feel like
they're competent people.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, you would think they would pick something like homeless, orphan, like
like
just someone
deaf people are normal.
Yeah, speaks sign language. Like, I think they have. I don't know, whatever. But this woman walks up to Erin, and we were on kind of like a narrow path. So we were walking single file. Erin was right in front of me. I was right behind her. And this woman came up to her and said something in French. And Erin was like, what? And then she said, do you want to help deaf children? And Erin was like caught off guard and like was like about to say something back. And I just like pushed you on the back and I was like, scam.
Wait, but the funniest part of this was we were in Paris. It was only like the second day we were there. Yeah. And I was so caught off guard just because I didn't know what she said. And I was like, oh yeah, I can help. And I thought she had asked me for directions to somewhere. Yeah. And I just stopped to help her. And I was like, well, no, Kelee, I'm sorry. I stopped because I thought she asked me for directions. And Kelee was like, and you were going to help her?
Yeah, like, you know where
anything in Paris is? And I was like, actually, yeah. I don't know what I thought I was going to help with. Yeah. I thought the lady needed directions and I was ready to help.
Here you go.
Of course.
A kind soul.
Yeah. I might not have helped the deaf children, but I wanted to help with direction.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't help regardless because Kelee told me it was a scam.
Yeah. So. I was so proud of myself. I was like, wow, 2 scams that I overcame because of TikTok. There we go.
Yes. Thank you to that blonde girl who is American but has lived in Paris for like many years. Yeah. Shout out her.
Yeah.
I actually don't have TikTok, but everyone was like sending her to me.
Yeah.
I saw her on Instagram, I think. Yeah.
So many interesting things that she
saved us.
Yeah. Okay, this last one wasn't a scam, but it was when Erin and Kelee and Rebecca had already all left. I was then meeting up with a colleague to do work in Paris. Like I had a job in France. So they all left. My friend / colleague came, and she had parked in this parking garage that you use the same entrance for the metro to get to this parking garage. She asked me if I could help her carry her bags. So we go over to the metro, and there's this guy just like standing there walking really, really slow and like staring at us. And
all you had to say was, there's this guy.
I know, there's
suspicious.
This guy. There's a man. No,
there's a man.
We're done. We're going back to
untrustworthy.
Yeah. So I see him, and I always try to like play it cool. Like, oh, I'm not doing anything weird. I don't even know that you're standing there.
I'm not even a tourist.
Yeah, I live here. Bonjour. And we're like walking slow, and I kind of like, I slowed down because I didn't want to walk into the metro entrance while he was still there, and I didn't want him to even see us like walking down there. And then we both kind of paused, and he was just walking like just way too slow for a normal person, and he kept like kind of turning around looking at us. And then I said something to her, and I was like, wait, hold on 1 second. And then she was like, okay, I saw the same thing. And then he was walking extremely slow, and we're just like looking around, oh wow, like, look at that building. That's
I'm not a tourist, but wow, look at that.
Well, we're not even going down this metro, even though we're standing right at the top of the stairs. And we kind of like took a few steps like away from the metro, and we were just like talking and whatever, and then waited until he was like really far away. And she said the same thing. She was like, I don't want him to see us walk down these stairs. And I was like, I thought the exact same thing. Not that that was going to be anything, like maybe he just had a staring problem. Like, who knows? But
I most definitely have that.
I do too sometimes. But yeah, I just don't trust anyone when I travel. Like everyone, I'm like, are you a very scary criminal or are you just a man? Like,
Yeah.
we're also women do it too. So
I do affiliate most men with very scary criminals, though.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. But then I think about tourists that might be scared to ask me questions. This has happened to me many times. I used to work like right near the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall in Old City in Philadelphia. And I would just be sitting there eating my lunch. And I guess I look like a normal person when I'm sitting there in scrubs. Like you can tell I'm a healthcare worker. But many times people would come up to me and kind of ask me for directions. Most often it was like if you're on one side of Independence Hall, you can't really see what's on the other side. So they're always like, where's the Liberty Bell? You know, like whatever. And to be honest, I always give them directions, but there have been times where people have asked me in other languages and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what you're asking me. Like if it's Spanish, I can help them to an extent, but anything else, like people have asked me in many languages. And then I'm thinking back and I'm like, that's me in France trying to ask for directions. And then I'm like, well, am I the scary person that someone's like, oh, we have to find someone to approach to ask for directions? Or am I like the person that they look at and they're like, all right, well, if she steals our camera, we can outrun her?
I have thought about that many times.
I know.
When I ask someone to take a picture of me, I'm like, could I keep up with them if they start sprinting away?
Right.
So I do think about that. Actually, speaking of people coming up to you asking for help, when I was arriving home to the Philly airport from France,
which was the worst day of my life.
It was actually crazy. There was like a car accident.
There was a car accident, but like in the terminal where you pick people up. So the road was just closed. Like you couldn't go through to pick people up.
Erin was at the airport for like 2 hours and I was sitting there waiting for her. Actually, this was fun. The baggage took an hour to get from my plane to the baggage claim loop.
And if it had come on time, we would have been ahead of the accident.
I know. So annoying. But I was waiting there. Multiple other flights had come and gone. And I was starting to get concerned. I was like, wait, am I reading this sign correctly? Even though it was like Paris 3. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Like it was so long. It was crazy. And then I started seeing other people that I recognized from my flight. And I was like, okay, this is definitely Paris. And then I heard people asking like the staff and they're like, yeah, that's Paris, whatever. It took an hour. It was crazy. It was so annoying. So I am like, I'm not even going to go near the baggage claim thing. And then it turns on. Everyone starts cheering. Everyone's like, woo.
Yeah, it was actually could have been over an hour, to be honest with you. It was a long time.
It was so long. And then what do I see come out? My broken suitcase that didn't roll. It was the first bag out on the carousel. Yep. And then as I saw it, I was like, there's no way. I was like, could that truly be my bag? The first bag out after an hour wait. And everyone around me starts, mumbling. Like everyone's getting very excited. Everyone's whispering, ooh, who's going to be the first bag? Who gets the first bag? And I'm walking up and I see it and I confirm, wow, that is mine. And then the people next to me are like, whoever's the first bag, they should play the lottery tonight. And I was like, I think it's me, you guys. And everyone's like, oh my gosh. And then I pull it off and people were clapping for me and they were like, congratulations on the first bag.
Yeah.
Like, well, thank you. I did feel like a celebrity. And then I went outside and Erin waited for another hour to get out of the cell phone parking lot.
I sure did, yep.
And while I was waiting there, watching people come and go, because there were cars rolling through, so I don't know how they were getting in. And
there might have been literally one lane, but there's normally 5 lanes there.
True. So yeah, people were like coming in and out past me. I was watching all of them get into their respective rides. And then this girl comes up to me. She looks like she's like 21, very normal looking, not suspicious.
Not a man.
Not a man. Not suspicious looking at all. Walks up to me and goes, hey, can I borrow your phone? And I'm immediately like,
suspicious?
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. And then I'm like, borrow my phone. I haven't had someone ask me this in the past like 15 years, like a stranger. Then she goes, I just have to call my dad. He's driving here and my phone is dead or lost or something. And I was like, can I hold the phone while you do it? And she's like, oh yeah. And then she starts like telling me the number. So I type it in and like hold the phone for her. And then she's like, all right, thanks, Dad. Like, see you in a minute. Hang up. And then she's like, don't give strangers your phone. That's good. And I was like, yeah. And no, I think when I said, can I hold the phone? I said something along the lines of like, not that you don't look trustworthy, but like, I just want to be careful.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, of course. And then when she was leaving, her dad came and she was like, do you have a ride? You're all good? And I was like, wow.
Aww.
Queen's looking out for queens. So sweet. You know, maybe she was a scammer. And then I was like, oh my God, I should have star 67 or what is it called? Star 69, her dad, so that he wouldn't have my phone number.
Oh my God.
Not that she knew who I was whatsoever. I was some random girl at the airport.
Or was she following you the whole time?
I don't know. She probably followed me from Paris. Her dad did have a Pennsylvania license plate though, so they really had their scam down pat.
They know. No, scammers know.
Yeah.
They know.
That's true. That's true. I think that was everything from my memories. Do you feel like I'm missing anything? Any of the weird things or funny things that happened to us?
I do have one horrible thing that happened to me on the trip.
Oh no. I don't know what she's going to say.
You were there for it. So we all kind of had to peel off at different points in time. Kelee and I flew home together. And after a few days in Paris, we were like, okay, our flight home's on like a Wednesday or whatever. I think it's at like 2 p.m. So we'll just like go about our trip, maybe do a late night Tuesday night if we want to see a show so that we can sleep in Wednesday, pack our stuff, go to the airport leisurely. We were like, you know what we should do? The Moulin Rouge. We have to experience the Moulin Rouge. It's classic, you know, whatever, it's history. I don't know. I never even knew what it was before we got there. Kelee convinced me to do it. So we're like, you know what? Let's go crazy. Let's do the 11 p.m. show. The 11 p.m. show starts at 12:30 p.m. Ends, I don't even know what time it ended. We got home around 2:30 in the morning, back to the hotel. I'm like, you know what? It's less than 24 hours. Why don't we just check in for our flight before we go to sleep? Scrolling. Our flight's at 7 o'clock in the morning. It is not at 2 p.m., 7 o'clock in the morning. For international, you have to be at the airport 3 hours before your flight. 654. We have to be at the airport in an hour and a half. We're not packed. We're not close to the airport. Yeah. We're drunk. How are we going to get to the airport in an hour and a half?
It was so funny. Like, I was dying laughing at this. They were like scurrying around. It was actually like that sound on TikTok when it's like, Honda. And that was Erin and Kelee. And then it was me being like, I'm spinning like a ballerina.
It was unbelievable. And like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but like we were drunk, and the first like half hour that this hit us, we couldn't even grasp like what was going on. So we were just sitting there like looking at our phones, looking at the flight information, like there's no way. Like this can't be true. This just can't be true. So we're just wasting time not packing, like not figuring out how we're going to get a car. We're just sitting there like, no.
Oh, no.
We're like, this just can't be true. We all thought the flight was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think it was because mine was at 2, but it was like a week later. And then for some reason, we just assumed all of ours were at 2.
I think that the mistake could have come from I never changed the timing on my phone to the time zone we were in. I left it in American time. So whenever I glanced at my phone...
Why would you do that?
Because I'm smart. So whenever I glanced at my phone, I was just like, oh, +6. I'm 6 hours ahead. So I think when I glanced at the 7 a.m. flight, I was like, oh, +6.
Oh, so yeah, great idea to keep your phone in a different time zone. Wait, this is a video that I took at 2:23 a.m. when they made the realization. Oh, I guess I deleted the one off my phone. It'll be in my Paris vlog coming out soon.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad.
Yeah. We were like, we're going to go home. We're going to watch Ratatouille. and we're gonna like have some drunk snacks and sleep in tomorrow, and then like wake up, get our baguettes and our, you know, whatever, and go home. Yeah, we did not sleep. We did put on Ratatouille. Or no, I think we put on like the Kardashians in Paris or something. Something that we were like, we can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
We might as well put this on. And then there was Kelee snoozing away in bed when we left for the airport an hour later.
I said bye. I woke up. I like came out of my sleep to say goodbye.
That was not fun.
But then I was alone in Paris. So enough about them. Let's talk about me. No, I was so scared for the rest of the 3-hour sleep I had. No,
it was pretty crazy.
I'm kidding.
It was pretty crazy getting to the airport sobered up and nothing was open yet. And we were like, well, we got to go to our tax returns. Fun fact, when you're in France, you get like your sales tax back. So if you spend, you know, a good amount of money and you're like, oh, I want my taxes back, you take like the paperwork to a place at the airport and they give you your money back, whatever, when they scan your passport. None of that was open.
Oh, really?
The baggage thing drop wasn't open. Security wasn't open.
How is it not open?
I don't know. It was 4:00 in the morning. I think everything opened at like 4:30 maybe. I don't know.
So you had to
Nothing
sit there?
was open. Yep. We sure did. We sat there. And then I felt so sad for this guy. Waited in front of us for the half hour. Like everyone was literally like sleeping on their suitcases in the baggage drop line. This guy was in front of us the whole time, gets up to the front, and we had a layover in Madrid. So we're like, oh, you know, we're going to Madrid, whatever. The guy in front of us gets up there and he was like, I'm going to Barcelona. And they were like, we don't have flights to Barcelona.
No.
And he was like, no, my flight's to Barcelona. And he's like pulling up his thing. And then he like looked at it, realized something and left. And we were like, oh, he's probably just at the wrong airline or something like that, like maybe whatever. But we were like, damn, that guy just waited in this line for them to open for so long, and we're all like tired and cranky and waiting.
Oh my God.
At 4:00 in the morning, and he wasn't even in the right spot.
I have a similar story. So when I was going home from France, I was alone. My friend/colleague left a few hours before me. She left on the 7 a.m. flight. I was leaving at the 1:55 p.m. flight. So I was traveling to the airport alone. And for some reason, I have no idea why I made the dumbest decisions I've ever made traveling this day. And in the moment, I was like, what am I doing? Turns out I had COVID because I started feeling sick later that day. And
it was COVID fog.
Yeah, no, seriously, my worst symptom of getting COVID for a week and a half after I got home was brain fog and fatigue. So I think this was like the start of my brain fog. I didn't even know it at the time, but I got to the airport alone. Remember, my bag is broken, so I'm dragging it and it's so heavy, and I have my camera bag and just literally it was so heavy. I was sweating, pouring sweat. It was so cold in Paris for the whole time that we were there. Like
it was
June,
very cold. We landed
55 degrees.
Yes, we landed and we were all like, we should probably go shopping today for jackets.
I bought a scarf the first day that we were there. Like it was so cold. It was the coldest like June that they'd ever had. Well, I overheard somebody say that. I don't know if it's true. But women were dressed in boots, stockings, and trench coats, like down to the ground. I was shocked. Anyway, so of course, this day that I'm traveling to the airport, it's the hottest day. It's like 90 degrees. No, maybe not 90. It was very, very hot. So I'm pouring sweat, trying to find my terminal, whatever. I'm walking through the airport, dragging my bag. My arms and shoulders hurt so bad. I'm going every which way. Finally, I find like the return, like the sales tax return thing. And then I head to my security checkpoint. Could not find, like, there was not one sign that said American. And I was walking for like 25 minutes and I was like, where is this American thing? Finally, I see a sign that has arrows and it says American gates, like whatever, up this escalator. And I was like, oh, finally. So I go through like you have to scan your boarding pass. I go through that, up the escalator, I get in line and I'm carrying this bag through the line. And then it hits me that I'm like, this is security. This is literally not bag drop. What am I doing? So I go and I start to like go underneath the rope to get out. And this woman comes over and she's like, no. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not. I have to drop my bag. And she's like, oh my gosh, yes, that's so big. And I was like, I know. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, where is the thing to drop it? And then I had to go back down the escalator, go and drop it off. No. And then that was the easiest part. Then I had to go back through. Boarding pass didn't scan because it says passenger has already scanned through at this checkpoint. And so I have to explain the situation again. Thank God that woman was now downstairs and at the checkpoint so that she could be my witness. So I had to wait for them to manually open the thing for me so I could walk through and then do it all again. And now the line is, I'm not kidding, 3 times as long. The woman who was my witness, she was like, when you go upstairs, tell my colleague what happened. Like, tell her you already went through and she'll let you go to the front. But when I got to the top, I was like, I don't speak French. Like, I don't know how to describe this situation. Like, I'm just going to wait in the security line. It took so freaking long, like literally an hour and a half probably, which is, I guess that's maybe that's average at an international airport. But I'm like, thank God I didn't take the 3 to 4 hours before your flight lightly, because I would have been SOL. But that was when the funniest things started happening. And I got into the car when I got home and started telling Erin about all the funny things I saw being attempted to get sent through TSA. So these guys that are in front of me in line, they look like so cool. They were dressed like head to toe in Prada, like hair in like the coolest like braids, the sunglasses, the sneakers, the jewelry, the Cartier jewelry. Like they looked like they, knew what they were doing. And the guy sends through his bag or he sets it down right in front of me in like the bin. And the TSA person goes, oh, do you have any liquids in here? And he's like, yeah, I have liquids in there. He's like, what liquids do you have? This guy starts pulling out every liquid in the book, like shampoo, deodorant, hair gel, like so much stuff. And the TSA agent's like, you can't take any of this. And the guy's like, oh, okay. He was so chill. And the agent's like, okay, so I'm going to throw it out now. And he's like, okay. He walks through. I walk through. I don't know why, but the whole TSA, they were being extra careful on this day. My camera bag got pulled and got separated twice. So therefore it had to go through the scanner 3 times, 3 separate times, and unpacking it. And they did it. It was a mess. Everyone's complaining about how long it's taking. Before I went through the scanner too, there's a family right behind me. So I was surrounded by that guy and this family. And this woman, she's unloading her stuff into the bins. And typically it's like wallet, phone, keys. Hers is water bottle, Coca-Cola can, snacks. I was like, girl, what are you doing? I was like, at this point, how do you not, at this point in history, right, in 2024, how do you not know that you can't send Coca-Cola through the checked bag thing? I know this is not your first time on a flight. I am judging you, but I know for a fact this is not your first time traveling.
Even if it is your first time traveling, you just know. And even if you don't know in society, how many signs say no liquids, no liquids? And then it says it in every language on the planet.
And then you have an agent standing there with plastic bags saying, no liquids, right? No liquids, right?
Yeah. That was one thing that I thought was crazy about France. Sometimes, even if you don't have TSA pre-check or global entry or something in the United States and some other countries, they don't really care all the time, but they do say, maybe pull out your liquids. In France, I didn't really have a lot of liquids, but I had a lot of little sunscreens, which I did get bullied for in the airport.
No, you did not. You took it personally that we said, oh my God, at how many?
Anyway, I had a lot of sunscreen because I don't want skin cancer.
I also had sunscreen in my checked bag.
I didn't check a bag.
Okay.
I didn't check a bag.
But don't try to guilt trip me pretending that I don't have sunscreen in my bag.
Anyway, I had my sunscreens, and they were in a clear travel bag, but they were like, put it in this Ziploc bag. And I was like, ugh. So they gave me this Ziploc bag, and I was pulling out all my little sunscreens and putting them all in here. And now my duffel bag's not organized at all because it just ripped everything apart. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, come on, France. But at least I wasn't trying to take a can of Coca-Cola.
And actually, I'll let this woman slide. You are allowed to take a water bottle if you have an infant with formula that you need to mix because it's a medical thing. So she was like, I have a baby. So he let her take the water bottle. I'll cut her some slack for that. Coca-Cola in the trash. So then we all go through. I'm standing there for so long because, like I said, my bag got separated 3 times or had to go through the scanner 3 times. I'm watching whose bag gets pulled, but the guy in front of me, Mr. Prada Cartier with the cool sneakers, with the shampoo, deodorant, hair gel. And the guy's like, whose bag is this? And because, they need consent or whatever to go through it.
Yeah.
And imagine if you said, no, you can't go through it.
Right.
What happens? They throw it out? They kick you out of the airport? I don't know. So he's like, yeah, you can go through it. He pulls out a full bottle of ketchup. Sir, what are you doing? Why do you have that? And it it wasn't like some French delicacy that he needed to take home to his family. It was Heinz 57. What are you doing? They have that in Philly. I promise.
That's like made in Pittsburgh, isn't it?
Yes. I don't even know what else he pulled out from his.
Going to America.
No, they were on my flight. That's why I knew that they had it in Philly. Well, I didn't know at the time that they were on my flight, but I saw them later on when in the terminal getting onto my flight.
Oh, man.
And then I saw them again at baggage claim for an hour when we arrived in Philly.
Right, of course.
Anyway.
And you didn't ask why they were trying to fly with
No.
Okay.
I don't trust anyone.
Right.
You're on my
especially
flight or
men,
not.
yeah.
Yeah. Whether you have ketchup, shampoo, and deodorant in your bag or not.
Right,
I'm not trusting you.
Of course.
So I was watching as like other things were getting pulled, and then the next thing that I see in another man's bag, not the same guy, a full fifth of vodka. Like, how do people not know? Like, I know I'm being judgmental right now, but how do you not know that you can't take a full fifth of vodka in your checked bag?
I don't know.
There's liquid laws for a reason. Well, I don't know what the reason is, but
they're there.
There's a reason. Yeah, and I saw so many bratty teenagers in this line while I was standing there for an hour. It was ridiculous. This girl comes up to her mom, and just like this teenage girl, and she's like, "Mom, this is taking so long." And like whatever her brother's name was, like Teddy or something. She's like, "Teddy just got pulled again." I was like, "What do you think your mom's gonna do?" I wanted to slap this girl across the face.
Yeah.
Be like, "Get a freaking grip." I can't believe how you're speaking to your mother as if she's controlling the TSA. Please. And then another girl, the mom is like separating the liquids because at every international airport that I've ever been to, you actually do have to separate the liquids, whereas in a lot of the domestic airports I've been in, they kind of let it slide. You don't have to pull out everything a hand sanitizer that you have. So this girl, her mom is like, this is another girl, pulling out like all the liquid bags that she has. And she's like, I have this liquid, I have another one. Where is it? And she's like to her husband, like, oh, is it in your bag or is it, where is it? And the daughter's like, Mom, they literally don't care. And she's like, okay, I need to know where the liquid bag is. I need to take it out. And the girl's like, they literally don't care, Mom. Like, they tell you to do it, but like literally no one cares. And I was like, no, they care. They really care. I just saw them pull out everyone's liquids.
They literally just threw out that man's ketchup.
Yeah.
They care.
They freaking care.
Ketchup's like a gel. It's not even a liquid.
I know. And hair gel's a gel too.
A gel.
You can get, and deodorant too. In America, I've never had anyone even remotely say shit to me about deodorant. But every other country, they care way more about this TSA process. So I'm like, you need to get a grip and listen to your mother.
The only time I've ever had them like take a liquid away from me, and this was fricked, was coming home from Costa Rica. They took my leftover bug spray, and I was like, no, you just wanted that for yourself.
Wait, I was reading travel stories, like preparing for this episode, and someone did say that they had this like little yogurt thing with a spoon, and they went through TSA, and they were like, oh, you can't have this. And she's like, okay, I'll just eat it right now. And they were like, no, we're taking it. And she's like, they probably just wanted a snack.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, no, you just know the size of the bugs in this country, and you want to keep my off bug spray.
Yeah, no, that's probably very true.
Whatever.
I've definitely messed up TSA at times, though. There's been multiple times where I think I'm a travel expert, but then my water bottle, my reusable water bottle, is actually filled with water, and it gets flagged, and they're like, you have to send this through again, or we have to throw it out. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to throw out my metal water bottle that I want on this trip. So I left my bag with them and then went out with, so then I was in the line again with my boarding pass and my water bottle. And the TSA agent goes, didn't you just come through here? And I was like, yeah, I had to dump my water bottle out. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he said that to me when I was like, because you know how it's like an S, like it's like weaved. He said that to me when I was a few lines or like rows back. And then when I get there, he and the other agent are like, welcome back. And I was like, all right, we're all comedians here. Welcome back.
Wait, but someone somewhere in France, I don't remember where it was, where we were going, what airport it was, let us take water bottles through with liquid in them. Do you remember? I had a little mini water bottle and I was like, oh, let me chug this real quick. And the woman was like, it's no problem, put it through.
I don't. I think that was in our layover in Madrid on the way there. And there was nobody in that line. And I think that maybe it was because that was customs and not security.
Or maybe it was, I wonder if it was the domestic flight from Paris to Marseille. And they were like, if it's domestic, maybe it was okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, that's weird.
But they did, like, they were like, oh, it's no problem. Take your liquid. And then they put it in this liquid machine and scanned it. And they were like, all right, it's water. It's good. And they gave it to me.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was like, what? You mean to tell me you got this technology and Costa Rica's still taking my bug spray?
And they're still taking that guy's ketchup?
The technology exists. Someone has it. And I don't know if it's Madrid, Paris, Marseille, Nice. I don't know, but it's there.
Wow. That's wild.
I know.
Should we go into travel stories? Now I'm thinking about all the TSA things that I read.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I also wanted to start this travel story segment. There was so much shit about cruises that I started going on a deep dive about cruises. And then I remembered that my parents went on a cruise to Alaska a couple years ago, and their cruise ship had to rescue the people from another cruise ship because the other one caught on fire.
Yep.
And it was like they were both semi-small. It wasn't like those Royal Caribbean ones. It was probably only a couple hundred people each, and they had to evacuate onto their cruise ship. Could you imagine? Like, that's so scary.
And that was in Alaska. So it was in like frigid, like Titanic waters.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, if you're on Norwegian Cruise Line and in the Caribbean and your boat goes down, like you can float around a little bit in that water and survive,
Oh my God. But no, sharks and the fish out there that are bigger than bigger than sharks.
They got like groupers and stuff.
No, I cannot imagine being in the open ocean. Like,
okay, well, I can't talk about it.
Okay, here we go. My mom, over 40 years ago, went backpacking around Europe, and at the end of her trip, she ended up in Germany with no money left and only a plane ticket to get home. But the plane was from Paris to Canada, so she had to find a way to get to Paris. She hitchhiked her way towards the German border with people who were high, and once they dropped her off, she immediately found someone else who was willing to take her beyond the border. But within 10 minutes, she noticed that he was taking her away from the highway and taking small roads, and she got scared. Since she didn't want to inform him that she knew something was up, she just kept talking about her trip and added some not so pleasant details, talking about how she recently had caught an STD that gave her really painful, disgusting boils all over her genitals. They were quickly back on the highway, and he dropped her off 50 meters away from the border before vanishing. 2 days later, she landed in Canada safely and STD-free.
That's a good one.
So genius.
That's a good one.
So genius.
Yeah. I'm going to start using that to get out of things.
Yeah.
My go-to excuse to get out of things is I have the runs, like, because no one ever questions it. And actually last night at work, I asked one of my patients why he wasn't at his therapy meeting. And he's like, I got diarrhea. And I was like, that's not going to work on me.
That's funny. One time I was on a cruise, and a few cabins down, a man and a woman were cheating on their wife and husband, respectively, got super drunk and fell over the edge of the balcony from really high up. It was at night too. The whole cruise ship stopped once it was reported, and it took an entire day to search for them. Apparently the man had his jeans or something because he had inflated them somehow, and they were floating, holding him.
Jeans do not inflate.
No, actually, jeans, I think they do. Like, if you were to jump into water, like, because they're so thick, I do think you'd be able to, like, tie it and make, like, a semi-ish... Okay, am I delusional? I don't know. I do feel like...
How big are these jeans?
I don't know. They reported that they were stung by multiple jellyfish and were super cold the whole time. That must have been the scariest, most terrible 18 hours of their lives. 18 hours! They were floating in the open ocean?
Okay, but if the only complaint you have is getting stung by jellyfish, like, you made out pretty well.
At least they weren't alone. Or what, were they alone? Was it both people?
It was both people.
No, that's insane.
That's terrifying. That's like one of my worst fears, I feel like.
Ew. I think if I fell off a cruise ship and it just went away, I might just lose the will to live, and I might just go underwater and take a deep breath.
I was going to say I would probably do the same. Yep. And I think about that way too often, actually. But yeah, I would probably just take a deep old breath under that salt water.
I think it's shocking how many accounts there are of people falling off cruise ships and people getting stranded and cruise ships finding random people floating in the middle of the ocean. Like a random cruise ship would be like, what's that in the water? And it's a person floating there. That happens way too often for me.
Yeah.
A little bit too crazy.
And I watch too many like thriller horror movies too to also like ever be on a cruise ship and want to pick someone else up off the water.
Oh my God. Could you imagine if it was a pirate?
No.
Well, they probably take them into like the jail at first. Like they definitely don't just like pull them onto the Lido deck and get them a drink. Like they definitely
they don't just like put them in the Congo line and them under the limbo bar.
They put a captain's hat on them and they say, "Who's driving the boat?
Welcome." Welcome to Party Town.
Cruises don't want you to know this hack. Here's how you get a free cruise. Go out into the middle of the ocean in the Bahamas.
They pick you up.
They pick you up. You get a 7-day free stay.
Where did you learn this? Oh, I follow Kelee on Stop the Internet Podcast.
A few months back, I was going through a screening at TSA. The line next to me came to a complete halt. I was through the scanner before the other line started moving again. As I'm putting on my shoes, I notice a passenger at the end of the line who has a briefcase open and is red in the face. He has several cylindrical paper containers open, and the area smells like chili. He attempted to pass through TSA with at least a gallon of Wendy's chili.
Oh.
He claimed he was going to eat all of it on his own. He was appalled that he could not bring a gallon of Wendy's chili through the security checkpoint. There were at least 3 TSA agents dealing with him. At that point, a TSA agent asked me and other gawkers to move along, so I did. The last thing I heard was the man asking if they wanted him to eat it to prove that it was real. I often wonder what happened to the man and his chili.
Oh, I would lose sleep over that one for sure.
Years ago, my mom's extremely frugal neighbors planned a trip to the Bahamas. The flight was direct and there was a layover in Miami. I think they flew Spirit or another low-cost airline. Anyway, their destination apparently had a kitchenette, and so they decided to pack a bunch of frozen meat and other food items. Yes, you guessed it. The baggage was mistakenly routed to another destination, and their bags were delivered a few days later.
That was not what I guessed was going to happen.
Meanwhile, all the meat and other food items melted and destroyed their clothes and their luggage.
Wait. They put the meat and the luggage or the clothing in the same luggage?
I guess they'll do anything to not pay for another bag. They're frugal people.
I thought I was frugal, but damn.
So they were forced to not only buy all new clothes and luggage on their trip, but they were also forced to spend money on food that they wanted to avoid. Keep in mind, they were not seasoned travelers, which explains their strategy.
Shocking. Take frozen meat in your... Never mind.
At Heathrow, I was behind a French dude insisting his bottle of designer perfume wasn't a liquid. It is perfume, not liquid, he said, getting louder and louder. Honestly, that's kind of valid because if I had to throw out a luxury perfume, I'd be very, very sad.
I would actually be disgusted.
I would be pulling every excuse in the book. It's not liquid, it's perfume.
I would literally be like, where do I have to hide this in my body? If it was expensive.
Yeah, literally. I would never do that. I would never hide something.
No, oh my God,
from the TSA agents.
No. Designer perfume. That is funny though, because I feel like I've been in airports, maybe even on this trip recently, that when they say like liquids, like a lot of times they'll be like, oh, water or any kind of liquids or shampoos. Like, but I've literally been in airports wwhere they're like, perfumes. Do you have perfumes?
Oh my gosh. No, don't make me.
And then that guy's like, it's not a liquid, it's a perfume. And it's like, do you see the sign that says perfume?
It's a what did they
parfum.
Yeah. What do they call? No, it's like
Eau de parfum.
It's not a perfume, it's eau de parfum. And the TSA agent is just like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right. My bad. And that was ketchup.
Yeah. Stayed at an Amazon lodge in Peru. We went out for a night to hike to a swamp to look for snakes and frogs. It was so cool to see all the insects and animals out at night.
No, that's not cool.
I made the mistake of rubbing up against a tree that was protected by fire ants. I know what he means is like accidentally brushed it when they walked by, but I'm imagining him going up to the tree trunk with his back and just like squatting.
Yeah, I made the mistake of rubbing up against it.
Anyway, protected by fire ants. I got a couple bites on my arms and swatted at them and complained about how they stung. This one girl decided it was the funniest thing ever and she was making fun of me and someone else. She was all smug and said, that's why I wore this big heavy sweatshirt so I wouldn't get stung like you idiots. Well, when we got back to the lodge, all of a sudden, annoying sweatshirt girl started screaming, like blood curdling. Apparently, the fire ants got on her and had just found their way into the sweatshirt.
Mm-hmm.
She was now trapped in this giant sweatshirt as she was getting repeatedly bitten by fire ants. It was comical as she tried to pull the sweatshirt over her head as she was being bitten. I really tried not to laugh, but lots of us were tired of her by then and couldn't stop laughing at the irony. She didn't speak to anyone else the rest of the time we were there.
Wait, that reminds me of two stories that happened to me when I was in Costa Rica. And I can't believe that I keep bringing up this Costa Rica trip because it's been so many years since then.
It's just so different than here. So much happens in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've been, and I could name like a million trips since then, but just this one keeps coming up. Two things. First of all, I got bit by an ant in Costa Rica at like a bus stop, and it was literally a normal looking ant, just like a big, there's like bigger ants, like they're black, but it was a normal looking ant. Let me tell you, I've never been, knock on wood, I've never been stung by a bee. This was one of the most painful feelings, and I'm not kidding you when I say that the next day there was a golf ball sized welt on the back of my, I think I sat on the ant, but like a golf ball sized welt on the back of my leg. I was like, from an ant?
No.
An ant?
Ants are like low-key extremely terrifying.
I had no idea. Second story. Similar to Mance who rubbed up against a tree. We were walking through the rainforest and we saw toucans flying, and I was like, oh my God, like toucans are like, those to me are like fictional creatures. Like they're so cool. And there was like a down tree that was like, it was like cut out of the path. Like it had clearly been there for a million years. But I like leaned back to lean on it to like look up at the toucans. And when I stood back up and turned to start walking, there was a snake like sunning itself on the tree where I had just leaned, and it just like literally like looked at me, and I just like kept walking, and I was like, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, don't move, don't freak out. And because he hadn't passed the snake yet, and it started moving now.
Oh my God.
And I was like, don't freak out. And he's like, why? And it naturally freaked out. And then he like yelled as he ran past the snake. And I'm like, well, thank God we didn't freak the snake out before I leaned near it, because it was just chilling. It must have known I wasn't going to hurt it. I don't know.
What color was it?
So I took a picture of it so that we could ask the people at the hotel if it was poisonous or not. And we show the picture to the guy at the pool bar, and he's like, no, I do think you're okay. I think you would have been okay. And we're like, okay. And then like a couple minutes later, he comes back over and he's like, I can't stop thinking about it. Can I see the snake again? And he was like dead serious. And we're like, sure. I show it to him again. And he's like, I actually don't know. I don't know if you would have been okay. He's like, it's really bothering me. I don't want to tell you would have been okay because I really don't think you would have been. And I'm like, what the hell? What is this about?
Come back over to double down.
I know. I'm like, what the heck? And like, he wasn't messing with us. Like we were like, okay, well,
oh my God,
thanks for letting us know.
That's so scary.
But I was like, that is I've come in contact with animals in my travels, but like never something that I like have feared for my life or my pain,
Oh my God.
But that was, ouch.
Costa Rica is terrifying with the animals and the wildlife.
Yeah.
I was there and we were riding horses, and there's just monkeys like on the power lines in the trees, like kind of following us down this path. I don't
monkeys can't be trusted. No.
I don't want monkeys anywhere near me. Monkeys are terrifying.
I didn't go near any monkeys.
No, I hate them. And our tour guide was like screaming at them, like
scare them all.
No, just like messing with them.
Oh no,
like, just like screaming, being like making sounds at them.
No.
And then the monkeys are making sounds at him. He's just like mocking them.
No.
I'm like, sir, please. I know you're from here, but I would assume he's from there. But I'm like, I don't trust this. I don't trust monkeys. Get them away from me. Like where they were wasn't that much higher than us. So it was very terrifying. I thought at any moment they were going to drop down onto my horse, onto me, and attack me. I'm terrified of monkeys.
You can't let wild animals, like, listen, I'm an animal lover. Kelly's an animal lover. When they say like, don't let wild animals get near you, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Like, no.
And if you love animals, stay away from them, especially wild animals, exotic animals.
Yeah, I did a bad thing once though. In Australia, they would they would say like, oh, there's areas where you can go like feed the parakeets, like the wild ones, like they're just, I guess, they're not menacing. Everyone was feeding parakeets in this one little area, and they were like, whatever you do, don't feed the white cockatoos. Come on, the white cockatoos are so cute and they talk to you. Like, how can you not want to feed? So I did feed a couple of them, but then one landed on my head and pooped on me.
Ugh.
And I was like, first of all, rude because I just fed you. Second of all, don't feed the white cockatoos.
Yeah, that's like that's like a rodent to them, but that's a very expensive bird to us.
Right. I mean, the culture thing was wild for sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, people literally pay a ton of money to have that as a pet in America, and you're telling me to stay away from it. And I'm like, I want to bring it home with me. Like,
you should have. You could have made a business, put a bunch in your suitcase.
Shoot, yeah.
Throw it in the check bag.
I will make a public statement right now. Australia gets a bad rap. People are like, have you seen the spiders in Australia? I'm just going to say it. Spiders in Costa Rica, way worse.
Ew. I don't
way worse.
Not my friend buying a house in Costa Rica and texting me today saying, let's go in December.
I mean, I would go back in a heartbeat. I would go back in a heartbeat.
No, I would
too. Don't let people give Australia a bad rap. Costa Rica bugs, so much
Oh my God, the centipede. I'm not even going to talk about it. Costa Rica. Okay, moving on. I worked on a cruise ship for 3 years. I've got a lot of these kinds of stories, but here's my favorite. Our ship officer got a call from a ship of a completely different cruise line off the coast of Mexico. They found one of our passengers floating in the ocean. He wasn't even near the shore at all, just floating in open water. He was alive and perfectly fine. They reviewed the security footage, and in the middle of the night, the guy was drunk on deck 5 and could be seen holding his phone, dancing to music by himself. He then climbed onto one of the lifeboats and did a running jump into the ocean. He left his phone on top of the lifeboat. His body was so fluid from being drunk that he wasn't even injured when he hit the water. The cruise ship spotted him and rescued him. His family didn't know he was missing because he had booked a separate room.
Bro.
No. The open ocean. Maybe it's not as dangerous as we think.
Well, no, that, but also like you told me this. You told me that there are like shocking amounts of people go missing on cruise ships.
Yeah.
This is how they do it to themselves.
Some of them definitely do. Some of them, there was a really, like, I've seen so many TikToks about people going missing on cruise ships, jumping overboard, finding people in the water, all these stories. I see a shocking amount of TikToks, and there was a kid who was like 18 and he jumped off because all of his friends were like, do it, and then he did it.
Who
and he
let
died.
the 18-year-olds go on the cruise ship by themselves? I gotta talk to someone's mother.
No, that's really sad. But no, people like, it's scary.
Yeah,
it's so scary.
But people definitely, some do it to themselves. Like this guy, come on, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care how drunk I am. I'm not like, yup, open waters, let's do it.
Yeah, like running off the lifeboat. Like,
I mean, I have been on a cruise ship drunk here and there in my life. And there have definitely been times in the daylight where we're like, wow, that water is so blue and it looks so pretty.
So pretty.
But we'll just wait until we're at the port and on the beach.
Yeah.
Never considered it.
Yeah. Ugh, during the day, it is so pretty, though.
It is really pretty.
The color of the water is like it almost looks purple in the middle of the ocean.
It's just like royal blue.
Yeah, it's
like a true blue.
Pretty.
And then when you get to where it's more shallow, it's like that crystal blue.
Yeah. Do you know why ocean water's blue?
Because of the whale salt.
No, I think it's because, well, every water blue. Like a pool. Well, no, okay. The ocean, I guess.
Oh, no. I was trying to make a Jersey Shore reference.
Oh.
Never mind.
Why is water blue when you look at it, but then when you put it in like a cup and like splash it up, it's clear?
I don't know. Why?
Apparently, it reflects the sky. But like, how does the ocean water look? What I don't get is like, even on a cloudy day, like, have you seen those videos of the massive boats that are going through storms and it's like, yo.
Yes. And the water is still blue.
Yes, even when it's like waves, it's still blue.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
So why is it brown in Jersey?
I think that's because of sand and seaweed.
Oh, not because of the sky.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I have 2 more.
Okay.
I used to be a crew member on a cruise ship, and one time a guy working at the front desk jumped overboard after a crew party. He was found a few hours later by the Coast Guard, and everybody was asked to be discreet in order to keep the cruise running smooth. And everything was fine until the captain came on the PA and said we were delayed because a crew member jumped overboard.
He threw him under the bus so fast.
Yeah, he really did. Then the madness begins. Rumors appear out of nowhere, and the rest of the cruise was pretty much guests asking what happened the whole time. A lot of shit happens on board. I could write a book, maybe even more than one. Do it.
Please.
I want to know.
I don't ask for much, but please.
Yeah. Cruise ship secrets like that are actually crazy like
Why
that.
don't we just take a year and go work on a cruise ship and do it ourselves?
We could.
Okay.
We could. I was on the Costa Serena in January 2012. Just cruising around the Mediterranean. Woke up one morning and all of the crew and staff at breakfast were stone cold and depressed looking. They made us do an extra lifeboat drill that morning to all of our confusion. Found out later that day that our sister ship, the Concordia, sank overnight and didn't have many other details. Now, my wife wasn't on the trip and didn't know the exact name of the ship I was on and found out before us. That's so sad.
Oh.
She was terrified till the next morning when I could get to the ship's internet-connected computer. We also found out the crew was especially depressed because a lot of them had family on the other ship and very little information. Took a few days, but things got back to normal. I just remember doing lifeboat drills and thinking they were a waste of time. Learned that lesson. Wait, that's crazy because I guess not every cruise ship is as big as like the Royal Caribbean ones, but it would take so much for a boat to sink. Like boats are so well made at this point, and we have so much technology and science and understanding of like buoyancy, and like it's just crazy to think that a boat is actually sinking in the Mediterranean. Like I get like an iceberg
fast, and like not be able to call for help, and like
wait, and they're in the Mediterranean. That's not even that big compared to like the open ocean.
Look, I'm not trying to jinx anything, but I do feel like if I was on a decent-sized boat in the Mediterranean, I could maybe keep myself afloat overnight in the water.
If you had a life vest and there was other people around, then I think yes.
Yeah. Where were the lifeboats?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the boat sank and everyone lived. Like, they didn't say that people died. They were just saying that, like it was like just scary. They didn't know. Yeah, they didn't have the information.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
And I think because of Titanic, literally I bring up Titanic on every episode now. I do think that there is probably enough lifeboats, if not more than enough, for everyone.
Absolutely. They probably have like an extra in case one doesn't work or something.
Yeah, like what if the lifeboat sinks?
They definitely even have like inflatable rafts on the lifeboats.
Yeah.
I would think. You know what? Maybe I'll start taking my own with me just in case.
A life vest?
No, like an inflatable raft.
Right. Maybe.
Just something.
I don't know.
Maybe
I'd still do it. I'd still go on a cruise.
Oh, I love cruises.
They're so fun, regardless of all the weird shit that happens on them.
They're so fun.
They're so fun.
Let's go on one.
Okay.
It
really is that easy. You guys, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Hope you liked our France recap and travel stories. It's fitting, too, because it's summer and everyone's in the travel mood. So
we could probably write up more funny travel stories of our own.
Yeah.
Or crazy. Just give me some time.
I was brainstorming and I was like, I was just dumb, too, in certain situations. So therefore, I got travel stories.
Oh, yeah.
I became the subject of them.
Yeah. We could write our own for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching our podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. I was going to say ahoy, or what do they say on a boat to say goodbye?
Oh.
Au revoir.
No. Oh my God. What's the term?
It's not ahoy, matey.
No, it's like that's hello.
Yeah.
It's like welcome aboard, and then it's like
land ho.
Land ho.
Bye.